Hi, Chad here with Purple Color Life, and this video today is our video review of the Newair Portable 80-quart cooler with dual zones. I think this is probably the best vacation cooler ever. You can see we were actually loaded up here in the back of the Ford Expedition, and instead of taking a cooler with a whole bunch of messy ice that you're constantly trying to replenish, it's getting everything waterlogged. Normal cooler with all that ice just to keep things chilled. We went with the Newair Portable 80-quart cooler. Now this is an actual real-world test. We took this on vacation with us on a road trip from Pennsylvania to Tennessee. I was actually not home when the package arrived, so Jennifer had to unbox it and get it set up. And she wanted me to note that it was very user-friendly, easy for her to figure out. She had no problems getting it out of the box. She said at first she was a little intimidated by the size of the box.
Inside we've got another layer of styrofoam.
She thought that cooler must be massive, and it is a nice 80-quart cooler, but it's not as big as the box, so don't be intimidated when you first receive the package.
Definitely looks like it was packaged really well.
And the package was way bigger than what you thought the refrigerator or cooler would be.
So now to figure out how to get it out of here.
And I think this is probably a good time to note that this is really like a refrigerator and freezer. It's portable. You can take with you 110 volt or 12 volt in a vehicle. Perfect for traveling like we did on a road trip. Unlike a cooler where you're constantly stocking it with ice and trying to find ways to get ice and keep the ice cold, this runs with a compressor off of either 12 volt in a vehicle or a power point, or 110 volt if you've got access to a regular standard plug.
So Mackenzie and I were able to get it out of the box. It wasn't too bad at all with two people. And Chad will be doing the rest of the review. So here's one side, and here's the other side. But I'm gonna go ahead and get it plugged in because we wanna make sure it works and is cold enough before we would leave for vacation.
Here you can see Jennifer got it all unboxed.
So I'm definitely not mechanically inclined, and I don't like doing anything with electronics. But just taking a look at this, obviously I know that I'm going to need a plug, and not this end. So it looks like it's going to be super easy and user-friendly for me to get plugged in.
There were good instructions with this, really easy to understand.
So it looks like this piece goes in here pretty easily, and then I'll plug this end in.
You can see here the display. I still had the plastic on there. You know that I like to leave the plastic on, but here's what it looks like with the plastic off. This was in the hotel room at night. After a night of hotel stay, it just shows the flexibility of this refrigerator. We had it in the back of the car on 12 volt. We stayed overnight last night in a hotel, and you can see it's plugged into 110. So it's nice to be able to take it in and out of a car, use 110 when you need it, 12 volt when you need it. You can see we've got this side packed up with refrigerator stuff on our way traveling cross country. And this side's all freezer stuff. I've got all my keto steaks and burgers and stuff like that in there. We've got an ice pack. Mackenzie is using an ice pack right now. And you can see after being in the hotel overnight, we're at 40 degrees on the refrigerator and 7 degrees in the freezer. Now that went up probably just because I opened it up recently, but we're set to go on the next stage of our trip. And the nice thing about hauling it in and out of the hotel, just pull these little latches. It's got a handle. It's very mobile. We'll just unplug it, take it out to the car, and load it in the car. I do have a Purple Color Life discount code. I'll put that down in the description of this video. And this item is also available on Amazon, so I'll put an Amazon affiliate link down also in the description of the video.
We have to take stuff out of the car though.
See, this fits nicely in the Expedition, and the Expedition has a 12 volt power point right here, so we just plug in there. Heard it beep and the display came on. It might be hard to see in the sun. It could be a little bit lighter, that display. but just from hauling it out, we're at 41 and 3. 41 for the refrigerator side, 3 for the freezer side. And I like, if you can see, it shows you the battery level of the vehicle. So you can see our car battery is full, providing 12.1 volts to the refrigerator freezer. It is important to leave a little bit of a gap right down the edge for the refrigerator freezer to breathe. It's got vents on the back and the edges. This is what a Ford Expedition packed for a trip from Pennsylvania to Tennessee looks like. You can see at some point, not during this trip, we think just before this trip, someone dinged us in the back end there, not when we were in the vehicle, when it was parked somewhere. You can see that dent in the bumper. But we're back on the road. We stopped here in West Virginia for an overnight, and now we travel the rest of the way towards Tennessee to the Smoky Mountains. So we drove about 6 hours yesterday, stayed overnight at the hotel. The Newair refrigerator freezer did great in the Expedition and then in the hotel room. Now we drove another about 4 hours and arrived at our destination in the Smoky Mountains in Tennessee. You can see that we already emptied the refrigerator side. There was lots of space in here, all done in the grate. And even though we had been emptying it, we're still at 42, and it's not plugged in right now, obviously. And we emptied out a lot of things. That whole bottom drawer and the entire top shelf is full of stuff that was in that refrigerator. Now we're going to do the freezer side. So here's an ice pack, but you can see we had strip steaks, pork chops and more strip steaks, and then about 10 pounds of ground beef in these tubes. And you can pull this all out in one piece. And you can see the freezer section does have an area where the compressor is. It takes up some of the space. But the rest of the side here, it has frost on it. That's how cold it's been for the last 2 days, just running off a 12 volt power in the Expedition and 110 overnight in the hotel room last night. So it's done great for getting us here. We may actually even just put this down in the room that we're staying in the Smoky Mountains, let it run, and put our pops, waters, drinks in here so that we have easy access to them in the bedroom. So here's a view of the Smoky Mountains. We had a great cabin. But one of the things I always worry about when I travel is maintaining my keto lifestyle. It's hard to find good meat. I ate a lot of steak, cheese, eggs, hamburger, pork chops. So here you can see some steaks we're cooking for the group. Tonight's fine dining is New York strip steaks.
That traveled all the way from Western PA.
Right. This is Pennsylvania beef cooked in Tennessee. Steaks turned out great, and it was great to have the cooler to haul those steaks from Pennsylvania to Tennessee. So on the return trip, we actually did have some car trouble, and we had some leftover food. But that food stayed in the cooler with the Expedition not running for about 4 hours. Stayed perfectly cold, was great when we got home. So there's an example of, even when you don't have an opportunity for the car to run, we were worried maybe the battery would go dead or it wouldn't keep working. Worked great for the 4 hours that the car was at a garage getting worked on. So this is not like a regular cooler, and it doesn't stay cold when it's not powered. It'll stay cold for a few hours, but it warms up faster than if it had ice in it. I kept a thermometer in there to keep track of the temperature, and it always stayed true to what was on the display. You can see there is the typical energy guide with any appliance, and it is bigger than a normal cooler that we would use, but it worked so much better to be able to have a powered refrigerator and freezer to go with us on vacation. If you're asking why the ice pack in there, just before we left, Mackenzie had her wisdom teeth taken out, and you can see she had a little bit of swelling there. So just to finish things up here on the Newair Portable 12-volt 80-quart electric refrigerator or cooler, it does have dual zones, perfect for keeping things frozen and cooled for a road trip like we did. Like I said, this is a real world test, real world application, and we absolutely loved it. We couldn't say enough great things about it. A couple notes. It does have a nice drain in the bottom, so if you do spill something, it's easy to rinse out and drain out the bottom. So if you're thinking of taking a long road trip, or you're even going RVing, and you're looking for an option to keep frozen and refrigerated items while you travel, I think the Newair Portable 12-volt electric refrigerator is the perfect option for people on the go. Like I said, it fit perfectly in the back of the Expedition, made our trip so much easier for me to maintain the keto lifestyle and take the food with me that I knew I'd be able to eat in the cabin. We didn't go out to eat a lot, and it was great for me to have food that I could cook that I knew would fit within my dietary restrictions. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video about the new tool that we had with us for our vacation. And we'll do another video in the future about the actual Tennessee Smoky Mountains trip. It was a great vacation, great rental cabin. And we look forward to seeing you again the next time. If you like videos like this, give us a thumbs up down below. We'd really appreciate it. Comment, share with your friends. And if you're not already a subscriber and enjoyed the video, click that subscribe button. Maybe you'll like the next one too. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again the next time.